I'm like,
And
you
if
did
those
what?
are afforded by that, no, today.
That's good.
There's Mike.
Buy another one again. This summer
Yeah.
goes the way it's supposed to.
I mean, it's been that crazy up here.
Whoa.
When you have a chance to decide that.
Basically.
Somebody's rented, or somebody has something scheduled here at 5:30.
Yeah.
So just, I didn't know if we knew or not.
So hurry.
I'm on the same pace as I was this morning. Rocket.
Rock and roll.
Hey Steve, how
How
you
are
doing,
you?
man? I'm good, how you doing, man?
Very good, sir.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oh, Jess, you're
Happy New
here,
Year,
I'm
Drew.
sorry.
There you go.
You're gonna have to get
And you're gonna keep
Mr. Jessen's here for Mr.
Well, we'll see here, I think so.
It's all right. Hello, Mike. Hey, boss.
Hello, hello, how we doing?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Like how you
Look at this crew.
Hey, you wrote a good speech. He made a good presentation.
I didn't write anything. No way.
As it should be.
That's right, no way.
These are part-time positions.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that one isn't.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw it.
Full time.
I tried to, but otherwise I think I did it.
Okay.
Good.
So, all right, you on? We're good. Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is the Porter County Redevelopment Commission meeting. It's March 15th, 2022. It's a little past 5 o'clock. Madam Auditor is coming back from a conference in Indianapolis, so I guess do we need to, Scott, can you take roll call?
Sure.
Okay.
Don Ensign, Here. Jason Gilliana,
Here?
Commissioner Good,
Here.
Councilman Jessen,
He's here.
and he's here as proxy for Mr. Rivas, Steve Solarski,
Here?
Andy Miletta.
He will not be here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so we go into election of officers. We're going to elect president, vice president, secretary, so we'll open up the floor for any nominations.
I'll make a motion to keep the appointments as is.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So that would be, what are the officers? I'm,
President, Jason is vice president, and Steve is secretary.
so that would be what we're voting for the officers.
Correct.
So we have a motion and a second. I'll call the vote. And I don't think we need to do a roll call. We'll just do it by ayes and noes, okay? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now we're going to move into the consent agenda. We have approval of the minutes for our October 26th meeting. We have approval of claims, and we have a financial report, and that is all on the consent agenda. Oh, yeah, we have approval of, is the consultants and all that on the consent too? Okay. We have MJ Thomas and Associates for grants. We have Town and City Engineer, Town and City Energy, Inc., that's Stu. Raymond Elwood is legal for our attorney's agreement for this board. And then we have Baker Tilly there for financial support as well too for our consultants. That is the consent agenda, and we need a motion in a second to approve this agenda.
It's one motion for all, or
Yes.
one at a
Yep,
time?
it's a consent, yep, all of them on there, one vote.
Then I'll make a motion for the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion? Second? We have a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second for our consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we're going to go for items for individual consideration. First up is we have approval of the 2022 budget. And Stu, do you have that, or?
Yeah, we prepared a revenue estimate based upon the commissioners, or the county's budget to transfer from lit. We've estimated some tax abatement fees, so total available funds at this time is $1,297,021. And I broke that down into our expenses. As you see there, we do have a kind of what I would say a reserve for grant matches and capital improvements as opportunities come up. And the budget is balanced, and I would recommend that you approve it.
There you go.
It's easier than looking on the phone.
It is a lot easier. Okay. Any questions from anybody?
Yep, this includes a lot of the things we've talked about.
It's actually money in there.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, Scott, we talk about the 900 in there for the grant, or the ARP.
Yep.
That's just in there as a consideration
Right,
right now.
right.
It's not a revenue.
Yep. So that's a placeholder number in there if we were to be able to get any ARP money out of the county's ARP process that they're going through now. We had talked about some additional investment possibly up on the 6 corridor to do some corridor
Well,
upgrades.
I think actually this is
without our
This
money
is
at
without
the
our,
time.
that's the money we have available. It's not programmed for anything
So
right now.
that's not a placeholder for,
It's not a placeholder.
okay, well, there you go.
We have almost
Wrong.
1.3 million estimated to be total budget for this year.
Before ARP.
Before ARP.
Before
Okay.
ARP,
Okay. That's even better.
yes.
That's like you said, a lot of money in there.
And we're
Council
gonna,
guy.
and I think we're gonna get to it a little bit
We didn't
later.
have a whole lot.
But the solar farm consultants, could be reimbursed, and we can talk about that a little bit more down the road in this agenda. But yeah, I think it's well thought out. It plugs the normal expenditures that we have, and it gives us a real good idea of the available funding that we have going into 2022.
So why don't we go ahead and let's take action on this budget, let's get it in place. And then we have some other things on the consideration here that we want to talk about before we get out of here by 5:30. So we have another meeting coming on in here at 5:30, so if it seems like we're pushing, we maybe are a little bit. So we have the approval of budgets. If anybody has any questions or whatever, we can, take care of that order of business. We just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the 2022 budget for the Porter County Redevelopment Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with a cough.
Mr. President, may I suggest that we hold on item 7 for now, because there'll be some funding uncertainties and the like. I understand there's some time, and perhaps go forward now with item number 8.
Yep, that's fine with me. Just in the, if we have some time at the end, we can always come back and revisit it. So next on, we have a policy here, and this is on attending electronically.
When the governor had his emergency, we were all allowed to attend electronically. The emergency's done. There are 2 options for a redevelopment commission to attend electronically. There's the old option and the new option. You can do either one. The old option actually gives you a little more flexibility. Either way, the commission has to pass a resolution authorizing it, and members could then attend electronically with a couple of considerations. You have to have a quorum present, physically present, and a member can only attend electronically a limited number of times unless there's extenuating circumstances like military service or health or what have you. But in any case, I'm foreseeing that we may meet here in person quarterly, but we might have some urgent business coming up to respond to a grant application or a facade grant that's popping, and I think it would be beneficial to you to adopt this policy so that if you can't be here in person, you can at least vote.
I think it's a good tool.
Okay. It's just more housekeeping after the executive orders and everything else too, so it's, I'll make the motion to approve the policy. We have a motion,
Second.
we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, we have an update on US 6 brownfields inventory. That's Kathy Luther from NERC. Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks for having me back. I think that Stu has sent out to everyone the inventory report we received from our consultant with the list of properties along that specified corridor that may have environmental issues. So I know you're trying to push through this, but if anybody has any questions or wants to have a phone call with my consultant to talk more about costs or likely issues that you might encounter in developing those properties or adjacent properties, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know.
Thank you, Kathy. Looks like a good report too. It looks pretty spotty, but there's stuff in there.
Yeah, there's some spots that are pretty complicated and some others that are pretty straightforward.
I wouldn't expect anything else coming out of Porter County being complicated. That just makes it right for me there. I feel comfortable with
All
that.
right.
Oh, you're in the right place.
I know I'm in the right place. Thanks, Mike. So thank you.
So there's no action required on number 9, but we would like approval to authorize the president to sign an interagency agreement with NERC regarding their CARES Act revolving loan fund program. And Dennery, who's a former redevelopment director in Lake County, is now the Director of Economic Development Affairs at NERC. She and I have worked together long time. And we came up with this proposal that would basically remove not a barrier to entry to this loan program, but certainly a speed bump. You can't get this low-interest money unless you're a business that's been affected by the by COVID. But to even apply for the loan, it was costing a small business up to $1,000, which, you know, you guys in business, who pays it?
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So Dennery can kind of summarize the agreement that we're proposing to you.
Yes, thank you, Stu. Essentially, NERC has 2-level fees. It's a $450 application fee, and then if the loan is approved, there's a $550 fee due at closing. The MOU is basically proposing that Porter County RDC cover that amount of $1,000 for, eligible businesses that apply. We have an existing agreement with Erica Dombey and the Regional Development Company, and they do our underwriting. So we essentially are billed by her on a per-hour basis and then pay her fee. Not all of them come in at $450. The 2 that have been done so far for the 2 loans that have been approved have been over that amount. But they're well within the $950 cap that's part of her contract. So the MOU has been drafted and approved by your attorney, has also been approved by our attorney. And if our executive board takes action to approve it on Thursday, I'll be going out in the field on Friday and delivering the flyer to all the businesses in the affected area. There is a small update. We did hire back on a part-time basis our former economic development specialist who had worked with loan applicants. So he will be listed as the contact on the flyer that I will distribute. However, businesses can also certainly feel free to reach out to me if they can't immediately access Matthew Paskish. I'll leave a copy of the updated flyer for Stu. If you want to distribute this here in the government center, that would be great. And we think this is a good idea, and as Stu mentioned, it'd be something that could remove a small speed bump for businesses that are interested, so.
Thank you.
Our targeted area is South Haven and the US 6 corridor, basically from 49 over to the Portage city limits. We think that $10,000 would be enough to cover up to 10 loans. There was some talk that there might be other businesses in unincorporated Porter County that might be interested in this program. So the policy decision, I think, for you would be to adopt what we're proposing with the target area, or say, after a certain initial period of, say, 30 days or so, your president could expand the eligibility to any small business, qualified small business, within unincorporated Porter County. That's your decision. Our focus up to now has been, what can we do for South Haven? And I think we ought to kind of keep that focus going. But if only 5 loans get approved in South Haven and we have $5,000 and there's someone down in the Malden area that might qualify, then Jeff could give us the green light to authorize that as well. It's up to you.
And we're certainly willing to make additional person-to-person outreach to those other areas of unincorporated Porter County.
Okay. Do we have to take action on this today, or?
Yes, you have to authorize your president to sign a memorandum of understanding
Okay.
with NERC.
Okay. And then we would want to set how much, so that would be, by signing that would put us in the initial phase?
Yes.
Okay,
It will commit us to the $10,000
Right.
that's in your budget.
gotcha.
And right now, the flyers are only going across Highway 6.
Yeah.
The 6 in the South Haven area would be the targeted area.
Okay.
And if we do expand this, we'll modify the flyers to make that clear.
South Haven area, what does that entail? The entire South Haven borders? Or
I think so, as long as it's unincorporated Porter County. McCool Road, I think, has a few businesses.
Yep.
Mhm.
It has to go to businesses that can prove that they suffered from COVID.
Right.
Loss of payroll, loss of revenue, what have you. And I think that, unless you tell us otherwise, we would be pretty liberal in using your match money to find a qualifying business in Porter County that could use this money. Use it or lose it is one of the rules here, and if NERC can't lend the money out, the EDA will take some of it back and give it to another community in the Chicago region, 6-state region.
So is it clear for the board what needs to take place for me to sign a document so this gets it rolling? Just want to make sure everybody understands what we're doing here. So in order to do that, we would need to move on it then.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for South Haven area for the CARES Act.
Yep. So we have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
So right now, we'll focus on the corridor. Are we going to expand it already after 30 days?
No, I
We're
think
gonna
what
talk
we'll
about that
do
later.
is we'll maybe at our next meeting, we'll see where we're at that point.
I'd like a little more flexibility, Jeff. If we're only going to be meeting every 3 months, and we know that someone in April, down in Malden, I'm saying, can use it, I'd like you to have the authority to give us the green light to do that. I'd like your board to give you that authority, so we don't have to wait till June or something to respond to that.
I'll amend my motion to add that our president can expand the program as anticipated.
Thank you. I think that'll help.
Yeah, I agree. Second.
So again, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep Stu updated. We'll see what kind of response we get. Should I bring this
Thank
in?
you for coming. Yeah. We still have 10 minutes.
We got one other item, sir. We have a proposed economic development expense reimbursement agreement between the Porter County Redevelopment Commission and Next Era Energy. It's a legal document, so I really probably should ask Scott to discuss it.
Yeah, this is it's the expense reimbursement agreement between Next Era and the Redevelopment Commission. This is for This is for up to $130,000 of expenses to be reimbursed. Those professional expenses necessary to be able to determine the best course of action for the request of NextEra Energy as they come in. This would be to help with the cost of Stu, the cost of Baker Tilly, cost of legal, myself, to be involved in dealing with getting all of it together for the county to make its best decision on the project. This is the first step, and NextEra would reimburse us, and then also we also have counsel from Indianapolis, so that would cover his costs also on this negotiation process. So this is an agreement basically to reimburse us for those costs as we incur them, in which we have already spent time negotiating to get here. So that's, we spent a good amount of time to do this. It's also a fairly good indication of their anticipation of them eventually wanting to move forward with this project. But we're not quite at that point yet, and we obviously do not know exactly what it would be or how we'd want to do it. That's why we have the Baker Tillys and those involved to try to figure out our best course of action.
Essentially, what they're proposing is an up to $200 million investment in a solar farm, and they are asking the county to enter into an economic development agreement, which would give them some tax benefit for that investment. There are several ways to slice that bread, and with that amount of money, you have to go beyond one decimal point. You know, you have to really have the Baker Tilly financial advisors and the like. Right now, I think that the proposal is something close to a economic development payment of, I think their initial offer was $3 million to the county. We think it could be a better benefit, and I think they're expecting us to come back with a counteroffer.
So it's fairly significant, and there's a lot of things being done. There's a lot of different modeling being done by Baker Tilly, a lot of different possibilities of how to handle that potential basically economic payment back in the form and where that money could be spent. And that's, all of those options would be put together as long as we go through this to bring back to say, here's option A, here's option B. What would this board and the rest of the county prefer to do with this money that would be potentially coming back, assuming the project goes forward. So the phone calls or the conference calls or the Zoom meetings, whatever they may be, have been dense, to say the least, and they're packed full of details. So
They're intense.
they're intense.
So, just so everybody knows, it's going to be a long project. You know, there'll be plenty of opportunities as the information comes forward. But what this does is this agreement allows us to start talking to them, start moving a little bit faster on some things, and at least if we end up in a stalemate and this goes nowhere, we get all of our expenses reimbursed. That's really what this is. So there's still a lot more stuff and a lot more information that needs to come forward. I know from my perspective, I don't even know where these are located in the south. I know it's in the south somewhere, but I don't even know where. So, you know, more to come.
Right.
Yeah, and to be clear, and to kind of dovetail into what Commissioner Good is saying, that this by no means says we're gonna have NextEra. It doesn't by no means say we're having a solar farm. It doesn't say we know exactly where it is and the when, where's, or how's. This is they're gonna pay for the professional services to allow the county to put themselves in a position to make the decision. So this is just reimbursing so that we do expend the costs to be able to come to whether or not the final decision of if, and if yes, how. And so that's to be clear.
Right, and there's guidelines. I just think there's a lot more to unravel here yet, but I just like to remind everybody on this board that, you know, this is a direction that has been taken by our utility for Northwest Indiana. This isn't really I mean, to a certain extent, there are decisions here that are ours, but the ship has sort of left the dock. And this is part of their renewable contributions to Northwest Indiana. And so if you're going to take that out of the grid, you got to have something else to put back in. So this isn't something that we were out sort of looking for. I think it's the new times of the day. But I just want everybody to understand that there's someone in this discussion that's a little bit more important that has already made these decisions to a certain extent for us. And I just wanted to make that real clear before all the hype and all the other stuff starts happening, because there always is, it's change. But my comments are more for the board, who might not have been too involved in what's going on and everything, but this is a direction that was set by NIPSCO, and they're out talking about it and taking action on it, not just talking, I should say. So we're just a county trying to catch what's right and what's the right thing to do, and make sure that we can benefit from that, and hopefully in the end lower our utility costs, right? That's at the end of the day, that's and cleaner. So that's what it's all about. So there, I said my little piece.
And the biggest part of this is, this makes the county whole for any investment that's being done. So there is no loss to the county, there's no money invested, so it's.
Yep.
So it's a good thing.
Yep. And I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to get creative on a lot of these things and how we use these proceeds. And I think that's exciting for the future of the county. So that's the agreement that we should take action on today. I know these guys have been meeting, and I think if we can start getting reimbursed for a lot of this stuff now and make them start spending some money and see where this goes, that's where this is all about. You can tell I'm the business guy, right, Kathy? So anyway, for the board to take action on that today, that's our last piece of business for today.
I'll make a motion on the economic development expense reimbursement agreement.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we'll get some meeting dates out for you. That's it?
Unless the public has anything to say.
Yeah, I don't think so. Anybody wishing to address this board, I will say.
Put your hand down.
So, yeah, put your hand down. She's got, I don't know if we want her to say anything today, right? Yeah. So she's had a rough day, as we all have. So with that, any other further questions? If not, this board stands in recess, and we'll let the next group move in.